Welcome to the Purpose Over Profit podcast with Darren and Chris, where each week we discuss what it takes to live a life of purpose and profit and explore the lives of people trying to achieve just that.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Purpose Over Profit podcast. As always, I've got my co-host Darren Green. How are you, Darren?
Yeah, I'm really well. The weather has been brilliant over the last few days, so absolutely zero complaints here.
Fantastic. And really looking forward to this podcast today. I've got somebody I've known for a couple of years now, Uche. Uche and I met at a charity event in the SEC campus a good few years back, actually. We were there for the First Minister's Questions and we bumped into each other over a coffee. And from then, we just had a conversation and we've had the joy of working together. I've been on one of Uche's webinars and it's fantastic to have you along, Uche. How are you?
I'm great, Chris. Great to be here, and I'm looking forward to this chat. And Darren, great to see you too.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
And fantastic. So what I was going to do is probably introduce you to explain to our listeners that we've kind of got to know each other in a work capacity because Uche, you've got a fantastic business, which is called Greydern, which we'll get into. You've got a real passion for purpose as well, which drives you forward. And you've got a real positivity and energy, which again drives you forward every day. And that's what I see. Even though you're busy on one side, you've always got something going on as well, which is always furthering your own development as well. So could you explain to our listeners what your business is and what the name stands for before we even get into your background, if that's all right, because that will help them understand a bit about you as well.
Okay, good. So I wear many hats, and one of them it's Greydern. Greydern is legal consultancy. It provides rounded solutions for clients. So we don't stay stuck on providing just legal solutions, but we try to provide a business a solution to clients and to see that they have the needed calm in the course of their pursuits. That's exactly what we do at Greydern. Now, Greydern is a combination of two words. So the first is the word grey, which stands for sophistication, tradition, ancient insights and stuff like that. And the latter word is den, which is the latter word of the word modern. So it's really an ancient and modern mix together. So really what we do at Greydern is try to stay anchored in the traditions that we know work, the traditions that can, and the traditional values that make a significant impact and ensure that we stay trusted and provide relevant insights that have experience, written all over it. But we do that with an expression that is modern. We do that in a language that is relevant and fresh to this fast-paced world that we live in at the minute. So things are moving sporadically. So you take it like you want to do movies, right? You want to sell movies and all that. That's what we do at Tradition. You want to do the traditional movies, but you don't want to do it like Blockbuster. You want to do it like Netflix now. So it's trying to be fresh in your expression in a way that stays relevant to the people, accessible, understandable, and not something that is shrouded in the mystery of legal jargons. So yeah,
that's great. That's really interested to be hearing that. And I know Chris mentioned it before, but I work with solicitors a lot, actually. I'm a property investor, or half of my time spent in property investing. So I'm always in the conveyancing side, it feels like, on something or another. So I would say tongue in cheek that, almost the ancient side of legal practice or solicitor, from a solicitor point of view, is kind of a given. It kind of feels like it's still in the dark ages in some respect. But to hear you talking about it, yeah, let's bring it up to date. Let's bring the Netflix sort of, approach to it, a fresh approach to it is really nice to hear. So I suppose looking forward to see how you go about that.
Yeah, I think initially when we set out a vision of what Greydern was going to be, it could have been something that we thought we did have a choice to do it this way. But in hindsight, you really don't. It's existential, really. You really don't have a choice, really. If you don't, if you're not relevant, if you're not fresh, if you're not talking the language that people would understand, information is everywhere, so everybody can go look out whatever they need themselves, and oftentimes doing it yourselves could get you in a ditch here and now and again. So we try to avoid that and still give you the flexibility and the ease of understanding the process of whatever you're doing, providing just consultation in relation to that. Yeah.
And I think that speaks highly of the visual language as well, which you have in your brand, which I found fantastic when I first met you as well. And you've got very high standards as well, so you know exactly what you like, which reflects the brand as well. So whenever you look at the style of the brand, I mean, check out the Greydern website as well. The imagery just reflects the personality of you. There's a vibrancy, there's a difference about it as well. There's that energy as well, which I found fantastic. And even when you unpick the values of the organisation, which I find fantastic, I mean, it'd be great to talk around those values just now. I've got them here, which is people, integrity, brilliance, legacy, ingenuity, care. And I think all of those are just phenomenal. And when you break them down, if you could, I think that people will again get a bit of an idea about the organisation itself.
Yeah, I never get bored talking about Greydern. So yeah, I don't mind talking about it. And really, we say in Greydern that we are a legal artistry hub. Wow. So we look at the law as an art, and that's why whilst I have an extremely high penchant on excellence, but we don't have excellence as one of our values, because we find that it's embedded in brilliance. So we're not just looking at excellence as something that we do, having a touch of excellence in everything that we do, but doing it in a way that adds the added flair, beauty, and shine to it. And so we deal with any issues that we come across with such passion, and we're trying to create art with it. So we're providing a solution that clients could trust, want to work with, and feel very comfortable working through the process with us. So that's it. And in terms of our values, you just mentioned them. One of the most core values, or all core, but one of the ones that we place a high premium on is people. Yeah, because we believe a lot in relationships. We believe that nobody cares about what you know until they know how much you care, really. So working closely with people and knowing that as people's concerns that you're dealing with, not your concern, you're not imposing your solution on someone. You're working through some sort of a collaborative effort in reaching a solution that clients own, as opposed to solutions that they have purchased. So something that they actually own and created alongside with you without the added stress. So we take on the burden. So basically, so people is one of the big ones. Another, I just talked a little bit on brilliance, which is also big for us. And of course we care. In Greydern, when we're doing stuff, one of the things we mention how we work in Greydern, we create, we collaborate, and we care, basically. So whatever we're doing together, we are thinking of creating, and that also brings out the artistic bend to trying to provide solutions, that have a legal bend to it. So we create, and then we work together with us, members of Greydern internally, and also with the client, and we do that with heart. So we are not mercenary. So we do that with heart. Our heart is in everything that we do. And in talking with you, I'd like to pass on the positive energy, and that's how I like to pass on the energy to clients. Is, come on, the world is hectic enough. A smile won't hurt. So let's make it work for everyone. So that's it. In relation to that, and then of course ingenuity, and that ties to how we do things in terms of create. If the solution doesn't exist, we figure out how can we invent it in a way, and that brings about how our innovative band, when we talk about Greydern and we talk about a modern expression, that also includes some level of innovation in everything we do. And really, if it comes to it, sometimes innovation trumps tradition, but we try to see how we innovate, as we get on with what we do. So those are some of it. And of course, there is integrity, because the trade in currency anywhere in relationships and business, in the charity sector where we have a big passion, the trade in currency is trust. And once your reputational capital depletes, then everything else just begins to deplete. And so trust is what sustains that capital over time. So and trust is the language of integrity, and that's it. Yeah.
I find that's fantastic. It's how you differentiate yourself as a business, a brand, or an organization is critical. And I think just by you, that enthusiasm you can hear from you, and even if you check out the website, you look at the values, the imagery, you can see that coming through. So you can understand that you kind of create your own kind of swim lane to a point for this kind of artistic side of a brand, which you would never marry up normally with law. And even your tagline, the art of law, which is just phenomenal. It's got it right down to a T. It's perfect. And I think that comes across in everything you're doing just now. So I mean, talk around. You mentioned the kind of the third sector, if you like. You do a lot of work in that area as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I have a lot of passion for the voluntary sector, for the charity sector. I haven't worked there for a long time in house as a solicitor, and then now doing this direction to them, because I believe that in the third sector, in the voluntary sector, they do some of the most valuable work for some of the most vulnerable with some of the least resources. And so because the founders of various charities are driven really by passion, it's not really profit oriented. So they're driven by passion. And because of that, they tend to wear different hats. Because the resources aren't there, so they're sort of forced to be resourceful with whatever resources that they have, and they wear different hats. So you have a founder as the fundraiser, the accountant, the lawyer, the social media content provider, and so on and so forth. So they just wear different hats, and somehow inevitably they drop one or two balls, and that's where we come in. Like, look, we get the passion, we support this cause, and our heart is in it, and so why don't we just let you do it, and let's take on the burden of the various compliance requirements, and take on the burden of your various transactional issues or contracts and so on and so forth. We come in from that viewpoint, so you have the peace of mind, and without the stress or the burden of, oh, am I doing it right or not? You just go with your passion. And that's where we come in terms of providing support for the third sector. I have a serious passion for it, because I think they do much value. They provide much value. Think about it. Coca-Cola, you find in every, you go to places where you don't even have roads, but somehow you find Coca-Cola there, right? You go to places where it's so hard to even get there, but somehow they've managed to figure a way out to get Coca-Cola. How much more where your product is laughter, is peace, is soundness of mind, is if these are your products, it should get it should get farther than Coca-Cola, right? So we need to start seeing charities, the meaningful work that they do, and whatever ways we help. Sometimes we help without, thinking of the monetary side of it, because we're so driven by the passion as well. And again, perhaps that's a bit of an Achilles heel, but we are driven by the passion that the founders of the charities are doing, and that's one of the main things that we do at Greydern.
Sorry, all of us. I mean, that all sounds like incredible, and it's great. You talk about like passion a lot in terms of, and we've just gone through your values, but that does come across like really much. If anyone's listening to this, you're probably hearing it, but I can see Uche in terms of the passion he's coming across. Yeah. And just to echo Chris's point earlier, just around the merging artistry and and law, it's like, who does that? No one. I mean, I'm even still at this moment, I'm struggling to understand, like, what does that even look like? So I was wondering whether, for my own selfish point of view, but also I think it'd be helpful for listeners as well, like, can you give us some examples of how do you bring that kind of new, fresh, kind of different way of approach and differentiate yourself, I guess, from, I guess, the norm in the legal world?
Yeah, well, firstly, another part of me is I've got a serious passion in the arts, right? So I got serious passion in dramas and plays and all of that stuff, and writing and all of that. So I think that creative bend to me and to the rest guys and Greydern is now brought in how we provide solutions. And so, and because, and the issue about art, when you're creating a work of art, it's never mechanical, otherwise it loses its depth, right? It has to have heart in it, and that's how we do it. So it has to have heart in it, and sometimes it might just be how it looks. So Chris was talking about our website and how much detail we're paying attention to that, and even in as glossy and as fresh as it sounds, that's how our solutions are as well. It's that same passion, that same need to provide, to put our heart in it and make it. It goes back to one of our values, which is brilliance. So we're not just looking at doing it excellently, we're just looking at doing it excellently and with flair and with beauty and with you don't, every client, I believe, expects good service, right? Now what then makes you stand out is when you provide something that's exceptional. So it's not just what they expect, and when they know that you care in the process, and when they know that your heart is in what you are providing, that's how we do it. So I guess my creative bend comes into it, and that added desire to see that what we do has beauty. It's not just, it's a solution that works and a solution that you love, that not just something I want to, okay, this works, and you're just a bit nonchalant about it, or just well, yeah, I don't have an option, I can go with this. No, I want clients to be enthusiastic about the solution that they have received. Yeah, and that
sounds like, sorry, it sounds like the mechanical nature of it, you're saying it lacks the depth. So the art is actually, don't think about like the picture or the ballet or whatever that art form is, but it's actually the depth. It sounds like hearing that back, it's the depth of caring, the depth of emotion, I guess, that you and your team kind of have and bring to that solution. It's not just a tick box exercise. It's not just
at all
means to an end. It's your own vision for it, and your depth of understanding and emotion actually create that end product.
Exactly. So you're just putting your heart in it and making it beautiful. And I think the art is the heart. You could put it that way. So it's the heart that goes into it that brings about the art.
You're a poet as well as a writer.
And you know what? That's what I was going to say. Uche has been very modest as well. So I mean, I've known Uche for a while now. So when you mentioned the plays and all this kind of stuff, you've actually produced plays, and there's people attended these plays, and it's fantastic. So at the heart of all this is people, and this is what you're all about, Uche, which I've kind of got to know you about. It's about the people and the plays and the emotions and the difference you can make. And we are talking about you in your legal sense here with your practice, but you've got the side where you've got the theatres, but you've also got, you're a teacher as well, aren't you? If you want to explain to listeners that side of it as well.
Yeah, so obviously I'm here in my personal capacity as Uche, but I also work as a lecturer in the university, where I also put I think you cannot, and I think the thing about authenticity and values is that you cannot divide, you don't just cherry pick values, right? It's a statement of who you are, of your core, of what you believe, and what you would go the lengths to protect, and so that sort of shows in the way I work at the university here in Aberdeen. And and over time, I've always been rewarded with the satisfaction from the cohorts and students. The previous academic year, I got the lecturer of the year for the whole university. So there's the passion that comes to it, and I teach different things, including charity law, which I pioneered in the university. So. Yeah, it was the lecturing thing, because I think if I should define myself as Uche, I would define myself as one who exists to inspire people to find their innate potentials and be the best that they could be. So that's why I don't find the teaching or lecturing as a job. Really, it's a fulfillment of purpose as well. And what I do with Greydern is also a fulfillment of purpose. So that's me. What I do is really trying to see the people get better, being part of the pursuit of students. I often say that, you know, whilst we all have dreams, but whilst we're waiting for our dreams to come true, as in TRUE, you know, our dreams are oftentimes waiting for us to come through. And a lot of times us coming through, it's the mentorship we get from one person or the other, you know, the tips we get from one person or the other, the inspiration we get from peers. And I think that's my role in every relationship, even with you, Chris. I always seek to be inspired, and by chance I inspire as well. So that is me, and that's what goes into my teaching. So in terms of my the law, my areas are charity law, but I'm also very big on global governance and NGOs, really still within the third sector, their interface in the international realm. So and that's what my doctorate is on NGOs and how they interface with international law on a global phase. So yeah.
I absolutely love that. There's so much in there, which is fantastic. And you've answered the question, which I was going to come on to around your own purpose. But I mean, what I'd love to know, we were talking before we came on and recorded this about how hot it is. And you were mentioning, well, it's not that hot for you because you grew up in Nigeria, where for us, where it's roasting, it's kind of mildly hot for you. But where did this kind of inner desire, this kind of inner purpose to help others and be the leader? You talked about your peers there. Where did this all come from an early age, was it? Or was it as you were growing up? I mean, could you help our listeners understand that, please?
Well, various things. First, I'm a person of faith, and my faith in God and Jesus has really helped me in shaping a lot of the things that I do. But besides that, the certain things that you learn. You know, Nigeria is a great country. And my kids, even though they all here and they grow here and all that, I keep letting them know what their roots are, because I cannot repay the lessons I learned in my early years in Nigeria, chief of which is resilience, and resilience, just getting on with it, because at different points you find that the odds are stacked against you. And I could go into graphical stories of my teenage years, which are quite dramatic. So I would just save you the details. But the point is, you're going through dire challenges at different points in time that really shape you and build your character and shape your mindset and your outlook. So in the Western world, where things seem to work better in terms of government and governance sometimes, a lot of things are taken for granted. But that makes it easier for those who have had a steeper challenge in dealing with some of these things to thrive. And that's why you find that everywhere Nigerians go around the world, they thrive and they excel. There are many sides to a story, many perspectives, but I choose to look at the Nigerians that show a good example and show the ability to thrive in the hardest circumstance. So I think my journey from my early university undergraduate years in Nigeria really shaped my mindset, shaped my resilience, and shaped what I do to a great extent. So my art and all of that started whilst I was in Nigeria, and then I was also working in a law firm at some point in Nigeria. So all of those things shaped me and helped me build the passion that I have today. I guess, all of this passion and all of that are innate, but you just discover yourself as you go. So that's it.
And how did the path lead to the heavy, sometimes northeast winds of Aberdeen? I guess I'm sure resilience would put you in good stead for that. But how did that path lead up to Aberdeen? I guess.
The literal answer to that, well, my instinctive answer is I don't know what in the world I'm doing in Aberdeen. It's just far removed from the comfort that I would rather have back home in the heat and in some of the relationships that exist back there. But I enjoy it here, and I've come to embrace it, and I've come to have a global outlook, seeking to have a global influence and still having a local anchor and impact. But the literal answer to that is I came here for a master's program. I came here for a master's program, and I stayed on. But I didn't like it. I got to be honest. I stayed on for a couple of years. I didn't like it, and I moved down south to London, and then I was in practice in London. But somehow, I think destiny has it that I should be here, and I'm back here, and I've been here, and I seem to have pitched my tent here, for as far as I can know. Yeah.
And I love that kind of global outlook you've mentioned as well, because obviously with your business, with the pandemic, a lot of businesses have digitized their service. Your business was digitized as well with the website, but you've done more than that now. You've been doing webinars. You've got, obviously, I can see here your Better Summit, your knowledge exchange meetings, fortnight staff integration meetings. So all of these kind of things where, again, it's all about people. At the heart of it, again, it's bringing people together, making sure nobody feels alone. I mean, do you want to just chat around some of the webinars you've had and some of the online events you're doing as well?
I think the pandemic, as sad as it is for people, and sometimes you hear about deaths and all that, and they're just statistics until you know someone who has suffered loss. So it's actually a real loss. And my heart goes out to everyone who's gone through the challenge of this past months, year and months that we've been in. But there has also been opportunities because it sort of integrated the world a bit better, and it helped us expand. And this period we have Greydern here in the UK, we have Greydern in Nigeria, and we have Greydern in Guyana. So somehow it's helped us expand globally in this period, and because relationships have somehow worked because the barriers we had, geographical barriers, just went out the window, and so meetings happened without waiting to make a trip down south or down wherever. So it's worked, and the webinars, in relation to the webinars, it also helped us reach a wider audience. So we've had webinars with guests from almost all continents around the world, and it's really just in relation to helping businesses do better, most of which are our clients, and see how we can help them improve in what they do, and also helping people go through this transition that is happening in terms of the way the world works, and being better ready for a 21st century working world. So those are the kind of things that we have done. And so I've pretty much just facilitated some of this But and I think it's had tremendous impact for clients and so on. But yeah, and thanks for you, Chris. You came for one of the webinars, and your insights on branding, has gone a long way. And some of the things I do, I borrow off your book. So thank you for that.
Not at all. That was fantastic. I remember one of the questions was, how can you stand out to not be like a lawyer? And I said, well, just don't be like a lawyer. Don't be like a lawyer. Just dress how you want to dress, all this kind of stuff. But it's just an off the cuff kind of comment. But it was a fantastic session. There was a lot of insightful people on there as well. And I think again, it goes back to that people aspect, which I love as well. But you're looking after your team, you're trying to grow the organization as well. You're expanding globally as well, which is fantastic. Your personal brand on LinkedIn, which I love as well, about the stuff you're putting out there as well, is very insightful and impactful. It's got the kind of imagery as well, which makes you stop and think exactly what's going on there. There was one with a butterfly from memory, a woman who's a butterfly and she moves the flowers. Right? Fantastic. So again, check you out on LinkedIn. So I guess, well, what's the future, if you like, for Greydern? What's your kind of plans going forward? What would you like to become more globally across the world and have more places, or what's the big plans?
Yeah, so we're looking to grow wide, but also grow deep. So the depth of our services should be, I'm very big on authenticity. So being authentic in what we do, in how we do what we do, that clients can trust us, and trust the clients already have in us can increase as we get on. So the plan is continue to grow wide in terms of having that global influence as a firm, but more importantly at this phase is also to grow deep, increase the impact that we provide to the communities where we exist, because we're not just, I hate to say Greydern is just a business, right? I see it as a force for good, a force for positive energy, and a force for support for clients within our immediate community to see that they're better at what they do. Yeah, so grow, grow, grow. Our vision or our tagline for this year internally was a better journey. And the whole point was just get better as individuals. The better you get, the better Greydern is. So it's not a focus on how do we get Greydern better. Just be better as a person. Be more competent in what you do. Be more positive, and somehow Greydern will be more competent, more positive, would be better. So that is our journey. And so we're not really focusing on goals as such. We're just looking on growth. We're focusing more on growth. And I believe that once you focus on growth, you sort of rise to the level of your standards and your processes, right? And you fall to the level of your standards and processes. So if you focus on growing your standards, growing your culture, somehow you would have a culture that's befitting of the goals that you nurse in your heart. So it's just growing. Growing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more in there to unpack. I guess we do that we maybe don't have time for, but it does keep coming back, as Chris says, to people. But I love how you've just communicated that in terms of growth being like, we're a business and we need to make money, and coming back, this podcast is about purpose over profit, but it's fundamentally about being better human beings. And actually that's something which you're really passionate about driving, not just this year, I'm assuming, but it's a particular focus for you this year. Chris and I, for example, are keen Stoics, I guess, and to even just make the parallel to your business, you've got that ancient wisdom and sophistication and knowledge from thousands of years ago, but yet it's just so relevant right now. That doesn't mean we have to behave in the exact same way as we did 2,000 years ago, because the world's different. So we kind of need to act differently and grow and continuously look to grow, but yet we can still lean on that ancient sort of wisdom, advice, faith. Even you touched on, religion earlier, but that faith that we can be better, we can grow, and we can all achieve more better. I just think it's such a refreshing message to hear, regardless of what industry you're in. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be many big corporates and small corporates that would be able to take a lesson out of that.
And I think as well, Uche, like whenever I've spoke to you in the past as well, you've always got something in the pipeline. You're always doing something next. I mean, you go back to university stuff you mentioned before about the courses you've put on. There's something else you're always doing as well. I mean, obviously, that must have been a transition to moving online for the courses as well, but there's always a kind of learning curve. So you're leading by example as well. And I think that's a crucial element in this as well. You're not waiting for permission, you're doing it. And then you're kind of showing as you can do it and show and tell as much as possible.
Thank you. I appreciate that observation, and I just hope to live up to it and continue to live up to it. My word for everyone is, I read a book many years ago called An Enemy Called Average, right? And do not seek to just be mediocre or just be average. Always seek to stand out. Also, there is an enemy called perfection. So do not seek to be perfect. Just be the best that you can be and just get better in what you do. I prefer the word better to the word best, because when I hear the word best, it looks like there's a lead on how far you can go. But I want to get better as we go on. So let's just keep honed in on getting better. And better love, better kindness, better pursuits of our dreams and so on. Just get better.
And to me, that's an infinite mindset you've got as well. That's because a finite mindset makes you want to be the best. And you're right. Once you hit that best ceiling point, then what do? Do you go down the way?
Yeah.
You've got to win the game. But when the game is infinite, when the game is growth, when the game is just that little bit extra, yeah, the game never finishes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you're in the game of life.
Lovely. Well, on that note, Uche, I think what we might do is call it there. But I was going to say, like, how can our listeners, one, find out about the organisation, and two, how can they find you and follow you on whatever channels?
Yeah, on all our social media is just Greydern Law. So Greydern, Grey, so not Gray, Greydern Law. So at Greydern Law on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So it's just at Greydern Law. And you can just go to our website. It's www.greydern.com, or just send an email to admin@greydern.com or just uche@greydern.com, and I'll be happy to catch up.
Fantastic. Honestly, that's been a great session. I mean, if anyone's listening to this, check out the video, because Uche's enthusiasm, his smile, his energy just shines through, which is fantastic. But really appreciate your time, Uche. It's been fantastic to connect again and have the conversation.
Thanks for having me. It's great to meet you, Chris, and Darren. Thanks for having me. I've had a splendid time this morning.
Thanks so much, Uche.
Okay. Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. As always, thank you so much for listening to the Pop Pod this week. If you'd like to leave a review or share the podcast with others, then that'd be awesome. You'll find us on Instagram at the Pop Pod, and on Facebook we have a community group called Purpose to Progress that anyone can join. And we'll be back every Monday with a new episode, but until then, stay on purpose, and we'll see you next week.